You're listening to Empress Conversations podcast with your host, Maggie Peary. Conversations with Maggie. Yeah, yeah. Join us next time on the next episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. To learn more about guests or for more information on working with Maggie, go to www.empressconversationswithmaggie.com/get-started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. Today, my guest is Miss Kimberly Jean-Louis. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you for having me. I'm so about business and everything in between.
Oh, that's wonderful. Kim, do tell us a little about you, how you got started in your journey, and your background, please.
Yeah, so I'm Kimberly Rosier Jean-Louis. And like many women tuning in and men who are watching, life helps dictate what we do, right, as a career. So growing up, I was helping my aunts wash hair because one of my aunts had a hair salon. So on Saturdays, I was washing hair. My uncle owned a newspaper, so I was writing copy and delivering newspapers. My other aunt had a home-based store, so I was learning about marketing, analysis, return on investment. I was learning all these little lessons as a kid. And so fast forward, I went to FAMU, graduated and worked for Pepsi, which is where I met some dynamic folks, and, like Maggie. We've known each other over 20 years. And so I stayed in business, different facets of business. And it really chose me based on my life experiences. And so now I am the CEO of 3D Strategic Management. We're a global public relations, community relations, and business development firm. So we have 12 members. We provide business development services to clients all over the world. I'm so excited about that.
It is exciting. Now, Kim, you just made it seem so just really simplified, but I really want to highlight that in the 20 plus years I've known you, and even in corporate America, at every level you were at, you excelled. You always managed to get to the top of the scale, at the top of the leader, be it sales, be in whatever division you worked in. And then that transition from being an employee to now the employer. Talk to us a little about that.
Yeah, I think just being women in general, being women who's just a time you're a little kid, you're taught to clean your house good, cook good, be good, do it well. And so when you go into corporate America, you take that with you, take those life lessons. And so you want to excel at everything you do. And I don't know if it's because I'm the only child or alpha female, or I just want to do the best at everything I touch. That's how it's been able to propel me. So in different positions, you're right. I'm always looking for how we could do it better, cheaper, how we could come together. And using that, over working for it, whether it was DOT, whether it was Pepsi, whether it was the Orlando airport, I always knew that I had a purpose to help minority businesses. But I also had to make sure I understood how to run a business, because it's the difference between advocating for a business and supplier diversity and running a business. And so you're right. I had to learn a lot of lessons. There was a lot of moments in between that 20-year gap. And so I take that. I take those knowledge. I take those lumps and bruises. I take the education. I have my master's degree in business. I take all that and I use it every day to help our businesses grow.
One time we had a really casual conversation, and you're working for another organization at that time, and you had that aha moment where you instinctively, I guess, somehow sat in your spirit and thought to yourself, you know what, I've brought this company from point X and now they're at point Y, and I've led this team, we've been recognized, we've had all these accolades because I was the one that did all of this. And you said, if I could do this here, oh my God, what could I do for myself and others? And that's when, at that time, the birth of 3D came in, and you just have not looked back since. So that transition, before you tell the story of what 3D means, talk to us about that season, because there had to be a moment to say something's got to give, or I've reached the point of plateaued with my career. There had to be something that brought that change about.
Yeah, you know what? I was sick and tired.
Good for you.
So there's a difference between being sick, right, and then being tired.
Right.
And you get sick and tired. And if I may be really transparent, because I'm from the South, I was sick and tired, like you said, like TIDE, I was tired, right? I was sick and tired because I had poured so much into positions, so much into companies. I had been promised raises and bonuses and things that were not delivered. And it hurt. It hurt. It hurt that I had a young son. And I'm going to be very transparent because that's all I know how to be, Maggie. And you know this. But at one point, I was working for a corporation and I had a young son. I would go pick him up from school and bring him back to the office and have him under my desk after hours, just in case a janitor came by or someone came by, because I wanted to make sure that I was excelling in my position. I wanted to make sure that I was the top salesman, the top person. And I remember that. So you're right. I had a situation where I brought my creativity, I brought my tenacity, I brought everything that made me unique to an organization. I was promised a salary increase. It did not happen. My family was needing that salary increase desperately. And it was the last time I heard someone say, why don't you just start your own business? But why don't you just start your own business? And I prayed about it. My faith is very important to me. I prayed about it and I let it sit in my soul. And I got the confirmation that I needed to start 3D strategic management. And so I'll talk about it really quick. 3D strategic management, because we all have your reason why. What's your why? Right?
Exactly.
My why is 3D strategic management. 3D stand for Dallas, Dakota, and Destin. Those are my three babies.
That's it.
2 sons and my daughter. And if you look at my logo, all of my kids are named in we call them by their middle name, right? So, but if you look at my logo, you'll see my boys, their first name, which is Rudolph and Christopher, sit on top of Anderson, and it's highlighted in my logo. So everything about my business was a legacy business. Some start businesses, and I always tell it to my clients, is this a lifestyle business or is this a legacy business? But a lifestyle business is a business where you do it because you want to save some money to go on a trip, you want to pay off some bills. It's just something you do on the side, kind of like a sidepreneur. But a legacy business is a different foundation. So I have a legacy business and everything I'm doing is for my 3 children. And now I'm a grandmother.
Congrats on that promotion.
Thank you. It is a promotion. So I have a new grandbaby, so now I'm even more energized. My why has extended to a different why. And so I'm excited about what the territory that God has entrusted me in. I'm excited about that. Yeah.
It is very exciting. And, also, in addition to the grandbaby and all these other accolades that you've got, I cannot go any further without at least saying happy birthday, Miss Kim, because today is your special birthday. So it is a wonderful day for you to share that with us today. So
yes, it is my birthday. It's a national holiday. Every day that you are on this earth is amazing, but your birthday is the day that you were designated to be who you are. And so today is my birthday. I'm so excited. And I couldn't think of a better day than to have this podcast with you.
Oh, how awesome is that? Thank you, Kim. Let's circle back to what you were talking about. As an employee, you said something that'll probably hit so many people in terms of, you mentioned you were promised a salary and it didn't happen. The beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur is that there is no limit. Literally, sky's the limit on what you earn, right?
It is. And so I was working for another company, and I actually took a $25,000 pay cut to go to this particular role because it was a skill set that I wanted to have. And there's something in that. You need to make sure that whatever industry you're in, sometimes you have to fall back to spring forward. And so in that position, taking that new role, it was a $25,000 decrease than what I had before. But again, it was a skill set that I didn't have. And so I talked to my family. We talked about it. We all made personal sacrifices. That year, my daughter didn't play competitive volleyball. That's one of the sacrifices that we made. And so we made that sacrifice for a year. And so I was told that I would be hired at this particular organization. And if I met the matrix, then I would be compensated. And I exceeded the matrix and I wasn't compensated. But I think, to be honest, it had to happen that way because I wouldn't have started 3D strategic management. Sometimes you'll be put in a position where you're so uncomfortable and you're so sick and tired that you have to step out on faith. You have to step out. You have to jump out of the boat. You have to jump out of the plane. And if you fall or fly, you just know that you got to do something. And so I knew that I needed to make sure that I positioned my family in a way that I wasn't contingent on someone else's matrix, someone else's time, someone else's feelings, and someone else's goals. And so that's why I decided to start a business. Now I will tell you, Maggie, you know this, leadership is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. You have to every morning hustle with a hustle mentality. Every interaction with every person is essential. You have to understand your brand and how important your brand is, even on social media. If you go to my social media page, you see family, you see faith, you see business development. That is pretty much all you're going to see. Do I have other interests? Yes. Do I have political support of different parties? Yes. I don't discuss it on my social media. You know why? Because I have 2 federal contracts. By the way, only 1.6% of African Americans have federal contracts, and I have 2. So I'm not in a position to discuss politics. I'm not in a position to discuss certain issues. That's not tied to my brand. And so I don't always go on social media and tell everybody what I feel. Now I call my girlfriends.
Absolutely.
I call my friends. So go ahead.
There's a time and place for what you post on social media because it can make and break you. And exactly. To that point, Kim, I want to go back before we start talking about the government contracts and all this. I really want to highlight one of the things that you do so well, my friend, and that is when you, Kim, you're such a person that excels, and I'm so blessed to know you in my life because they always say what you have the five people within your circle or your circle of influence also affect you. I just want to highlight that, Kim, even under former President Trump and current President Biden, you have gotten that recognition. Outside himself coming to say, yes, daughter, well done. What else is there? I mean, that is like such a plateau for most business, not a plateau, such a high peak for business to get recognized on that level and in your industry, and you're charting a brand new course. Tell me, what is next for you? What else are you shooting your eyes on so that you can achieve that goal?
Yeah, thank you so much. I have been blessed to recognize and honored and asked to serve as a stakeholder for both past President Trump and now the Biden-Harris administration on African American affairs as well as rural affairs. So it is an honor. It just shows that the commitment and the payoff to my purpose and my passion, my dedication, and my village. You can't village, right? So your question is what's next? I believe in multiple streams of income. Everyone should believe in multiple streams of income. Do not have all of your eggs in one basket. You can love your job all you like. You can. And you should do well in your job. You should do well with everything that you do. But you should also have multiple streams of income. And that doesn't mean that you have to go out and start like a major business. It could be on something small. So for me, talking about multiple streams of income, yes, I have 2 federal contracts. I also have an incubator. So here in Orlando, businesses can go and they can register at an hour each and either use one suite or a 2-room suite or a conference room. And so what I'm doing starting in January is I'm actually going to have an entrepreneurship certification where new businesses can come in and every other Saturday for 3 months take an entrepreneurship course. That's launching, and you first to hear about it, January 5th, and the first class starts in February. And so that's just one of the initiatives I have. I really feel like new businesses really don't have the foundation they need. They don't understand how to start a business credit, administrative, the difference between a bookkeeper and a CPA, contract sourcing, you name it, they really just don't have the experience. Most businesses will start out and pay someone just to get them incorporated, and then what?
Yes.
So I've started an entrepreneurship program certification. I'm really excited about it. I have trainers come in, guest speakers, and so that's going to be in person. Some of the other things we're doing is I started a nonprofit, the Central Florida Minority Enterprise Development Corporation. And so we're working with corporations to sponsor minority businesses so they can learn about business development. But we're also going to have a conference, and we're going to bring back go-sees. So you may see the go-see, right? A go-see is actually loading up a bus with procurement officers, those that are in contracting and those that decide who's going to get a contract, and taking them to minority businesses and letting them see the minority business. So we're going to have bus tours. And so we're going to start our bus tours. And I'm really excited about that. Oftentimes, minority businesses, you're in the trenches. You don't have time to go to all of these community meetings. But if you are doing well, I think that we need to make sure that we bring procurement officers to your location and see what you're doing. So that's one of the things. So a couple of, I won't spend a lot of time, because you know me, I'm always bringing new ideas and starting things. But those are some of the things I'm doing right now.
That is fantastic. And that's breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that here. Now, Kim, we will provide all your contact information at the end and as well as in the show notes. But please tell listeners where they can find you, because outside of 3D strategic management, please provide your website, your email address, and your social media handle so that at least while people are listening, they can also check in on you.
So 3dstrategicmanagement.com. You can email me at info at 3, the number 3, the letter D, strategic management. We also have the Orlando Minority Business Development Agency. That is the federal contract I have. It is sponsored by the United States Department of Commerce. I also have an infrastructure program, and both of those can be through OrlandoMBDAcenter.com. I'm not sure who is watching from where, and I hope it's globally. You need to make sure you're checking your state to see how much infrastructure money is coming to your state, and probably has already hit state lines. So in Florida, $22.7 billion is coming to Florida for things like roads, bridges, highways, weatherization, electric vehicle stations. And you may say, well, I'm not in construction. Can you make t-shirts? Can you cut grass? Can you pressure wash? That's all construction. So when you're thinking about even just EV, electric vehicle charging stations, those stations are going to be put on a concrete sidewalk. Do you do concrete, right? Or they're going to have vinyl logos on them. Does your company create vinyl logos? So these are the contract opportunities that we can tell you about either through 3D strategic management, incubator side if you're a new business, or if you're a business that's been in existence and you're ready for these contract opportunities. We can either help you if you want to go out as a prime, as a sub, if you want to do a joint venture or a team agreement, we can help you with those. And that's on the OrlandoMBDAcenter.com website or info at OrlandoMBDAcenter.com.
Wonderful. Now, I hope the listening audience, I really want you to pay attention to this, because what Kim just shared is one of the reasons why she has been listed as one of the most jobs created in the United States. And just by providing that one scenario, if you, cut grass or do all of the things with construction, all that money in 2023 is coming to Florida. Now, I'm here in Atlanta, but just looking up that information.
Dollars coming to Georgia, there's billions of dollars coming to Louisiana, there's billions of dollars coming to North and South Carolina. Every state is getting billions of dollars. So you want to make sure you're checking, you're following that money, and we can assist you.
And it's so easy to get in contact with Kim. Even just this week, you had a webinar that had all kinds of different speakers and the information that you provided. You just never know what's out there, because if you're a new business person starting out and paying your first utilities for that first month, if you're in office or if you're working from home as a solopreneur, all of that are things that you can actually get a piece of that pie with those billions of dollars that Kim was referencing here. Kim, somebody who is just thinking about starting their business in 2023, what 5 things would you say they have to have?
5 things they have to have. They have to have the time to devote to building a business. Time is one. They have to have an expertise in something. Oftentimes businesses will start, and just because you like to do hair, you might not be the best hairstylist. Also want to have a cosmetology license, right? So you want to have time, you want to have the talent to do it. You want to have the resources. So when I say resources, you need to know how to start a business properly. Going to your division of corporation, your Department of State, and starting your business. You understand that you need to start a business bank account, and looking at what bank is the best bank for you, because that's going to set the tone of your lending relationship moving forward. I always tell businesses, look at smaller banks, because decisions are made at the branch level, or credit unions. You may have a large bank because a global bank, because they have tellers and locations all over. But you really want to have a banking relationship. When you walk into that branch, you're like, "Hey, Gail." She's like, "Hey, Gail. How the kids doing?" Right? And you say, "Hey, you got this opportunity. And Gail can have buy-in, right? And then Gail can make that decision to get you that line of credit for $5,000 or $50,000. Or Gail can call corporate and say, hey, I actually have this client. I really believe in them. And let's go ahead and let's give them a loan for $100,000, right? So you want to have resources, personal relationships, and resources that you're building right now. Don't wait till you start, right?
Yes.
So, and the last thing I think I would say is that you want to be able to have a business plan. If you do business, you need to have a business plan. And there are business plan templates all over. You can Google business plan and find one. But you want to be able to know some key things. One, who's your competition? Who's doing it better, cheaper, faster, maybe even the same as you? You want to know your differentiators. What makes your company different, right? And so if I'm going to shop or buy your products, why should I buy from you? And you should know that, and your team members should know that as well. I'll give you an example of that. So as you're putting together, say, your capability statement, which is just a 2-page or 1-page resume, right? We can work with you on that. It has 5 components. And I don't know if I have a chance to go into that, but everyone should have a capability statement. So if you're putting together your capability statement, you're trying to figure out what your differentiators are. Let me run on you, Maggie. How long have you had your business?
Since 2008.
Okay, 2008, right? Okay, so that's saying what, 12, 14 years? Okay, how much in this industry experience do you have? How much experience do you have?
Oh, Kim, you're getting me to tell my age. Goodness. Over 20 years.
Right. So when you're talking about your business, we're not going to say that the business has been in existence for 14 years. We're going to say that the company owns 20 years of experience in the industry. That's a differentiator. Those 8 years make a difference between you and someone else that's been in the business for 10 years or 12 years, or even started the same day you start. We're leveraging understanding how to talk about your business and what makes your business different. So you want to make sure that you know your differentiators so that you can position yourself in a market. So we're talking about a business plan. That's just one. You want to have a SWOT analysis. You want to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Because if you don't know your threats and how do you prepare for them, you don't know your weaknesses and what are you working to overcome those. You need to promote your strengths. The things that you're doing well, keep doing them well. Write it down. Make sure that you can train your new members on what we do well, right? So there's just a couple of things like that I think that new businesses need to make sure they're doing.
You know, I really want to give you kudos here, Kim, because you not only you started your business, and it's a global business, obviously. So you worked with numerous countries and people all across the world. You have a team of 12. Most often, you know, it is said that women-led businesses don't last long. Yeah. What are some of the challenges that you face being in leadership, managing your team cohesively as a unit, and continuing to grow and expand?
Yeah, that's a good question, Maggie. And that's why I started Women Empowerment Wednesday. Women Empowerment Wednesday is a platform on YouTube where people can go, and if they're a woman on business in particular, they can hear, I think we've got up to 24, 26 shows. And I bring in women business to talk about the plight of a woman business, or I bring in a woman that's from corporate America. And so I'll tell you very quickly, as a woman, it's hard. It's two things. One, women are told that you should be passive, and you should be not be aggressive, right? And so if you're working for a corporation, a man says go make copies, go make the copies. But if a woman boss tells you to go make the copies, you're waiting for please. You might not like their tone. You may feel like they better than you. It's all of these different things that society has shown that when women run a business, they have to overcome a lot more hurdles. There is this graphics where it talks about a woman running a marathon and a man, and his lane is completely empty. But her lane has laundry, it has her mother, it has her own feelings, it has her girlfriends, it has her insecurities, it has societal views. So running as a business as a woman, you must know your voice. You must be an expert in your subject matter. You must be able to stand firm on who you are and what you're saying and why you're doing it. And you must be unapologetic about where you're taking your company. Should you have a mentor? Every woman in business should have a mentor.
Yes.
But you should be sure about where you're taking your business and not waver every time someone says, I don't like something, right? And so when you know where you're taking your business, you can formulate that information. You can think about that information. But if it is not in line with where you know you're taking your business, you stand firm in it. The other thing about when starting a business, according to the American Express report, every year the American Express creates a report called "The State of the Woman Business." I encourage everyone to read it.
Okay.
No, is that women start businesses much later in life.
Mm-hmm.
This is much later in life because we are raising kids. We're raising our sisters' kids. We're trying to climb the corporate ladder. We're just trying to make it. Most times we have someone or something depending on us. And so we don't step out on faith. We don't bet on ourselves. And so we don't start a business till much later in life. But what we do know is that women start businesses. Most women that start businesses, whatever ethnicity you are, if you start the business and you get the resources you have, you hire in your community and you have a longevity, right? You have longevity. So we have a community-based feel. We pull in all of our resources. We take the lessons that we learn of raising a family and making a family successful when we add it to business. Unfortunately, we just do it later in life.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Yes. One thing, well, among several, but I really want to highlight how well, Kim, you developed your village, because between aunties and mama and everybody around you, even, I remember when Dallas was a kid, which is your first time, you brought everyone around, and you obviously people first, but everybody the village really mattered, and you were able to go and do what you had to do and didn't worry about, okay, are the kids okay? You checked in, but you built your village until today. I still sit here and remember how Dallas learned to read and little things like that. And now, there's Destin and all these things. You've done that very well. And it's a legacy. Yeah. Go ahead.
The key to success is your village. But you must have a village that believes in you. So Maggie, I thank you because 20 years ago you believed in me. You've kept my son. I was working late, going on trips, and you were coming up to the house, and I was dropping him off at your house. And you sowed a seed. You believed in me, and you sowed a seed. And that seed is now a mighty oak. And so make sure that you got people that sow seed, you got people that water the seed, you got people that prune the tree, but they all help to get to a place, right? And so you're absolutely so right. If it was not for my village, I would not be here. My mother is currently now helping take care of my 5-year-old because I'm at the office 12 hours a day. But everybody knows that I'm there because we and my spouse, we're building a legacy years down the road. So my daughter, Dakota, she's here. She helps pick up my son and takes him to school sometimes. My oldest son is checking in. My aunties, because I'm from the South, so we say auntie. My aunties when I lived in Atlanta, would come up to Atlanta and relieve me so I could go on a trip to train in Chicago or train in Houston. And so you must make sure that you have a village that supports you, that gets the mission of what you're doing, and they buy into it. And they understand their role. Sometimes you will bring people into your village and they don't understand their role. Getting jealous. Jealousy is a big thing. And then jealousy leads to destruction. It leads to distractions. And so you want to make sure that anyone you bring into your village, they truly understand their role. They understand the importance of their role. It's like a chain. They understand their link in that chain so that they too can continue to pursue their goals as well.
Absolutely. Kim, circling back to one of the things earlier on in your career, while working at one of the organizations, you went into the sales field. And sales is something that a lot of women shy away from because typically we might think of a car salesman going out there and being rejected if you want to sell whatever it is that you're selling. But talk to us because you actually thrived in that area when it came to sales, be it at PepsiCo or any other organization, but you've actually carried that on even in your day-to-day today with what you're doing. You've used your skill set that you learned on the field in what you're doing. But someone who is intimidated by the different type of sales, talk to us a little bit about that and what key advice you would give to someone who would like to start doing some form of sales.
Everything is sales. You even if you're on social media, if you post that I like to cook, you're selling that you're a cook.
Absolutely.
You're domesticated, right? We're always selling ourselves. It's understanding why you're selling yourself. And there are people that are introverts and extroverts, right? We got that. It's some people that don't feel like they can comfortable talking in the crowd. But an introvert can have a one-on-one conversation and feel just fine. So you have to know who you are, and then you have to know why you're doing it. So for me, I am an extrovert. Sometimes I'm an introvert. It just depends on the day of the week. my social battery gets tired sometimes, so I need a weekend to recharge. But I will tell you that I've learned who I am. I also went to Florida A&M University, and so I took public relations with a little bit of marketing. So I knew that that was the role that I wanted to kind of go in. You have to find out what you want to do, but whatever business you have to have sales. And if it's not you, you need to bring in, contract out someone to do the sales. Sales lead to contracts. Contract leads to increase in revenue. Revenue continues to grow your business.
Absolutely.
So, like talking to people, say you're a electrical engineer or you do hair, right? But you don't like talking to people. You don't like going out and talking about how good your business is. You use social media. You just post your videos of how well you're doing hair. I watched a video the other day on a platform. I don't want to say which platform, on a platform. And I immediately said, oh, I want her to do my hair. Because she didn't say anything. She just showed her work. She was selling what she could do without saying a word. And so I called immediately and she said it was $300. I was like, but when you got to open it?
Yeah, okay. That's it.
Oh, and I don't pay a lot of money to get my hair done, y'all. But I was willing to invest those $300 because she had sold me on how well she could do hair. So when you think about sales, don't always think about it like you got to go out in front of someone and you got to either not be real or you got to be heavy. Or when you think about an old used car salesman, that's kind of cheesy. You don't have to do that. In this day and age, you can let social media speak for yourself. Also, if you do an amazing job, then you'll have testimonials. It's nothing like someone else saying they did my hair and they did a great job. Or you at the grocery store and you and you're like, here's her business card. You don't have to say anything. That's sales. So understanding the different facets of sales, understanding the philosophy and the psychology behind sales. And that's some of the things that we can discuss and talk to you at our organization.
Kim, before we wrap up here, I really would like to take advantage if you could just share a brief highlight once again about what you'll be offering in January so that our listeners can really hone in into what it is you'll be doing in Florida and hopefully others who are not in Florida, how they can take advantage of that.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity again. Maggie, first I want to thank you for the opportunity to address your platform. Thank you so much for 20 years of unstoppable, unwavering support. I mean, you've been in the trenches with me. I don't cry with you and all but lady your best.
Likewise, Kim.
But you kept me encouraged. You prayed over me. You prayed with me. You came down to Florida to visit me, and I thank you for that. Right? I couldn't go any further without saying it. So before I address what we do here, again, it's 3D Strategic Management for those who are just joining in. We are a full service business development, public relations, community development firm. We take pride in helping you grow your business. Whatever goals that you set for your business, we're going to stretch it. We're going to have stretch goals. Grow your business, and we do it holistically. We really do it looking at all facets of business, not just, okay, you do hair, we're going to help you to look good. We're going to have great marketing. It's so much more than that. It's so much more to be, to have the foundation, to build the foundation you need. So that's why we have the entrepreneurship certification that we're getting ready to have, because I've seen so many businesses start and stop. It started and stopped because they didn't pay their annual fees to have a business in their state. And here in Florida, it's $400 fee, a penalty. So they didn't remember or know they're supposed to, renew their license every year. They didn't pay their taxes. They didn't understand the difference between an LLC or S Corp or C Corp and how you need to set that up. So when the IRS call, it shut them down, right? So all these things are vital to running a business, and that's why we have the entrepreneurship. It is in person. However, we will probably around the summer start it virtually. We do have virtual trainings on the other side. We have 45 virtual trainings for those that signed up to become so those that are in Georgia or any other state, those that may be chiming in from Africa, wherever you are. We do have training videos. Like I said, we have 45 training videos. Those training videos, once we do is we bring you in, we do a basic needs assessment to see where you are. And then we assign you videos to watch just to make sure that we can get you to a platform where you can start scaling your business. Those training videos are on estimating, human resources, cybersecurity, you name it. We have 45 that we brought in experts from across the country, came into our studios here in Orlando. We recorded those trainings, and now you have access to them if you're a client. So we do have in-person training, but we have global trainings as well.
I love it. Kim, as always, my friend, you've been such a delight. And I really, really encourage someone or whoever's listening to get in touch with Kim for 2023 and don't put any limits, because you'll be surprised how far this information that Kim and her team have can really help. Her whole goal is to help you succeed in your business.
Absolutely.
So to Kim, we will have the information provided. Kim, one more time. What is the next legacy goal for the next 10 years with 3D management, strategic management?
So I started a property management company. So with that, I plan to do a lot more investing in real estate, created a formula to help young college students to start building a business, their personal credit. So that's in the pipeline. I think I'll definitely do this for the next 10 years, going hard. I love what I do. I am training more people, bringing in more I call them village members, but more team members, more village members to learn and understand business development so they can go and teach business development. And I want to, after 10 years, probably take 3D to a place where either I can sell it or give it to my kids. That's all part of that legacy building. And also have an exit strategy when you do start the business. So I can see in 10 years either selling the business at its highest capacity or gifting it to my daughter, Dakota. She doesn't know I'm priming her, getting her ready to be the CEO, because it's a legacy business. And then I want to be able to do more consulting work after 10 years. So, and I've been asked would I do international work. So get myself in a position to do business coaching in Africa and other countries like that.
That is fantastic. My friend, I wish you nothing but the best. Enjoy your day, Queen, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Megan. I love you so much. And I wish you and all of the folks, the ladies and gentlemen that are watching the show, I wish you well. Bet on yourself. You won't bet on yourself.
Love it. Thank you, Kimberly.
All right. Thank you.
You're listening to Empress Conversations podcast with your host, Maggie Peary. Conversations with Maggie. Empress. Join us next time on the next episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. To learn more about guests or for more information on working with Maggie, go to www.empressconversationswithmaggie.com/get-started.